Okay, so in our framework, what we have done so far is we have created main three layers so far. A test case layer which deals with test case, a page layer which deals with page object implementations. Basically, page object implementations have these three, rather these four files so far we have created, and these four files are basically like they have the classes created for each of our web application page, and each of the class is going to maintain the locators as well as the business process implementations related to that particular application page. This also has a base page class. This base page class is basically a class which is going to have all the uh, generic locators or generic elements as well as the generic business processes which we can perform while being on any page, and this we have discussed in detail way in our last session. Let me just open that application so that we can understand this particular scenario better. So here in this particular application, this area, header and the footer which is below here. So these areas are common. So you be on any page, you will be able to go to the info about us, you will be able to go to the journal and privacy policy, and these pages you can go to. Even you can go to like you can navigate to the login page and the other pages from these header areas as well. So this we are going to maintain in our base page as it is generic, and each of our page class is going to inherit this base page class so that the generic locators as well as the generic business processes can be used. Okay, this is the idea. So let me now start with this. Now let me just delete this, and slowly we would be now implementing these things. So this is fine. Okay, now let's start. So what we will do is now first our first start of the application is this one, right? This is our start, and this is our dashboard page where we land on to. Okay, so now let's try building our one test case of login for now, and then we will be building end-to-end test cases also. Okay, so to build this login test case, what we need to do is we need to first get on to the dashboard page, because that's where our application flow starts from. Okay, once we are on the dashboard page, we can like go to the login page by clicking on this particular element. So our start of the flow is from the dashboard page. This is a very important point. So what we will do is now we will create one dashboard page, okay, and then we will create the object of it. So I'll say dashboard page equal to new dashboard page, right? I'll just comment this out for now. So we are on the dashboard page, right? So once we are on the dashboard page, what we need to do is like we need to call go to login page method. Go to login page means this, which will click on this element, but this is a generic again, as I said, because you can go to the login page from any page. You can navigate to this as it is part of the header of this. So if this particular functionality was specific to the dashboard page, we would have implemented it in the dashboard page, but it is a generic, so we would be implementing it in the base page. So what I'll do is here I'll just remove these parts for now, and slowly we will add them as and when required. So I'll be just so here we'll say a sync and then you know a method. So a sync, and I'll say go to login page. Okay, so what we need to do here to go to the login page, we need to work with this element, right? This element we need to work with. So let's inspect this and see what all attributes are set to this and which strategy we can use. So this is the element we are talking about, right? So it is actually a hyperlink element. You can see a tag it has, and it has got different attributes like href, area, label, and all that, right? So we will make use of this, and let's see which we can use. I'll just go scroll down a bit, and this is a card button. Okay, and this one, okay, this one is the favorites, and this one is our, this will take us to the, once you click on this, this will take you to the login page, right? So let's inspect this again, and let's use of this href attribute. Okay, or we can use this area label attribute also. So what I'll do is, let's create a locator. So how can we create a locator? So I would say this dot go to login page link, we can give any name, okay, equal to, and then we have to use the locator. So for that we will import page, and here what I'll do is this dot page equal to, and mainly if you see our framework now here, web test, now we need to fix this a few issues here before we get on to that part. So here we have a constructor. Okay, so what we will do is, I'll just take this and I'll just shift it over here. Okay, and here what we will do is, we have browser, so I'll say this dot browser. Okay, here I'll say okay, now let's do one thing. I want these variables, right? So here I'll not implement any constructor for a moment. Let me remove this, and here we will say this dot browser, and yeah, and then we will say this dot browser context and this dot page. I'll do a change now. So as I have already created one a very basic this dot page, right? So what we will do is, so okay, so here, okay, so here we will okay, so on the class level I'll just define these variables. Okay, just a minute. Just to give you the context, I'll just open our uh, TypeScript implementation which we have done, so that I can give you the context how we are converting whatever we have learned in our TypeScript sessions, how are we using them in this framework part. So let me open that project, and here in the TypeScript programs, yes, so if you see here, like bank account for example, if you see here, this is how we had defined our variables, right? So the same way we would be defining our variables here. So I'll say private browser, right, like this, colon browser. Then we will say private browser context, colon browser context, then private page, right? So perfect. Now let's see. Okay, so we will its value is never read, that is fine. Initializer, so we will just initialize it to null. We'll just initialize it this also to null, and this also to. Okay, now then okay, now here I'll say this dot browser and this dot browser context. Perfect. Okay, so we have defined here three variables: browser, browser context, and page. And we have one method here called open browser, and this open browser method is going to be responsible for opening our browser. Okay, so this open browser is going to take browser name as an argument, and we are sending it to the switch. So if the browser name is Chrome, then this is the logic to open a Chrome browser, right? So what we will do, we will write one more case for Edge browser. So I'll say case Edge. So if our browser is Edge, then this is as is. Just we have to do one change. So in this launch, after this headless no, we have to specify a channel msh. This is how you start a Edge browser. Okay, so the responsibility of this method is to start the respective browser according to the browser name it will receive, right? So it will, what it will do is, like, it will open the Chrome, right, in headless false mode, and that reference of that Chrome process it will store in this class instance variable browser. Then we will create a context. Okay, we will create the context out of this, and that context reference also we will store in a class instance variable browser context. Then we will create a page, and that page instance also we will store in this class instance variable page, that way, right? And we will break, because in case of switch, for a particular case you have to break, otherwise all the cases from that case onwards will get executed, which we don't want. We want only one case to be executed. So that is how switch works in any language. It's not specific to TypeScript. In any language, this is how switch works. So whatever the browser name we will receive, we are sending it inside the switch. So if that browser name is Chrome, then this case section we want to execute, but only this case section we want to execute, not any other case sections. So we are breaking. So this break will break the switch statement and it will come out. Then this open URL. So this is this dot page. Go to, right? And these are all fine. I mean, there is nothing problem here. I'll just comment this out for now. We will implement this afterwards. This is how our this particular class will look like, right? Okay, so we will assign to some. So it is saying that null is not assignable. That's fine. I will assign something else to it. Maybe we will assign something else. That's not a problem. For now, I'll just keep it like this. We will fix this issue a little later. Okay, and because why it is saying this is like, because we don't have any constructor here, no, for this particular class. That is the reason why we are getting these errors, but that's fine. I mean, we will see how this can be fixed later, right? So this is how this function will look like. Then we have the open URL, and then we have the type text and click element. This is all implemented in the web test. Now what we will do is we will go to our base page. Let me go to our dashboard page also, and our very first flow is to open the dashboard page. So this constructor is going to create the object. So what this constructor will do is it will simply like initialize the let's not have any constructor implemented. Okay, for now we will see how this can be done. Okay, so let's not implement anything for now, and I'll just import this name base page. So it is not able to get the base page, so I'll just get it from here. This is the base page, and now what we will do is we will implement a, so let me write a constructor, and we will be storing the locators. Okay, so locator of this elements locator. So what I'll do is so this page, this it is going to inherit, right? So I'll say this dot page as it is defined as private, right? So okay, so that page we have not yet defined here, right? So what I'll do is, just give me a moment, that we have implemented there. And now what we will do in our web test, we have these things. Okay, so what we will do, we will call this open browser. Okay, once the browser is opened, page is opened, ultimately what we will do is we will return this dot page. Okay, we will return this. Right, let me remove this. So we will return this dot page. Now what we will do in our base page, where is my base page? Just give me a moment. Base page. So here we will create a constructor, and in this constructor I will define here app page, some variable like app application page. So app page this I will define as public. Okay, and then I would say this dot app page equal to, and now this is where we need to create a object of our web test. So one more thing what we will do is public web test colon web test. Okay, and here this dot web test equal to new web test constructor we are calling. Then we would be calling our open browser method. So I'll say this dot app page equal to this dot web test dot open browser, and we would be sending it the argument. So I'll just remove this. And that's fine. So this part I'll just keep it as this. Okay, now what we are doing here is we are creating an object of our web test class, where here web test class we are creating an object of, and then that object we are using to call our open browser, open URL, and all those methods, right? So I'll go to this base page. So we are opening the browser. Once the browser is opened, now what I'll do is here I will also say that I'll go to base page, and we will also call this dot web test dot and open URL. This also we will give a call to, right? That's it. And then once we will call this dashboard page constructor, this, okay, so what the dashboard page constructor will do, that it will give a auto call to our base page class constructor, that is parent class constructor. It will give a auto call to this. Then our web test object would be created. Web test object would be created. Using that object we are calling our open browser, which is going to take one argument. So that argument we will pass now from our test case. So what we will do is we will pass that argument here, Chrome. Then I'll create one constructor which will have string browser name, okay, and this we will be now using. So I'll say super browser, right? That's fine. This is how we can call our constructor. So let's understand the flow. So just give me a moment. Here expected two arguments, dashboard page sorry, browser name colon string. Okay, now let me go to the login page. Correct. So we are creating an object of dashboard page by sending it the browser name which we want to use for running our test. So we want to use Chrome browser for running our test. So this argument we are sending it to the constructor, right? So we will receive it here inside the constructor. Then what we are doing is we are just passing on this to our parent class constructor. So where is our parent class constructor? This is the parent class constructor. This is the parent class constructor which will take that argument. So we will say browser name colon string, right? So that we are sending here, browser name. Perfect. So let's understand it again. So here I am creating an object of my dashboard page because dashboard page is the very first page which gets opened, okay, when I start my application. So I am calling the constructor of dashboard page, sending it the name of the browser. Then in this I am accepting that browser name in this parameter and I am just passing it on to my parent class constructor because my dashboard page is extending my base page. Okay, so I'm simply passing on this to my parent class constructor, the browser name. So I'm receiving it here in my base page. I'm getting that browser name received here, and in this now I'm creating my web test object, web test class object. That web test is having all the low level keywords implemented. Then I am calling open browser and passing on this browser name variable to it as an argument. Okay, so I'm passing on this here, which is nothing but which is coming here, right? So I'll just go to my base page and I let me make this correct, and let me go here. Perfect. And let me, this login page, forget about it for now because we are currently working on dashboard page. So from here we are creating an object of our dashboard page by calling its constructor. Then that constructor is calling our parent class constructor and passing on the browser name there. And then this parent class constructor is actually performing the tasks. I'll show you what it does. So this parent class constructor in our base page, it is actually performing all the required actions to open the application and open that particular page. So it is doing that stuff. It is opening that dashboard page for us. Okay, so once the dashboard page is open, so as I mentioned, like the job of each page constructor is to take us to that page, whatever it needs to do in order to get to that page. Let's say here, how are we getting to the dashboard page? So we are getting to the dashboard page by opening the URL, right? So we are getting to this page by opening it. So that stuff we would be, this each page class constructor is responsible to perform the operations, okay, to take us to that page. So this particular constructor will take us to that page, a dashboard page, and then we can like have these locators. So I would say here, so we will define the locators here, like for example uh, go to login page locator. Okay, okay, and then we will initialize this to this dot page locator equal to this dot page app page dot uh, locator, and then we will write our whatever our CSS is for this. So this is the CSS which we would be using. Let's say this area label we want to use. So I'll say a and area label equal to orders. This is our CSS. Okay, so this CSS we are basically this element, let's say this element we are storing in this go to login page locator, and then we are going to implement one like this is again not something specific to a dashboard page, right? So instead of defining it here, we will define it in a base page. Okay, as I mentioned, this needs to be in the base page. So I'll go to the base page, and here, sorry, here I'll mention this. Okay, and I'll specify it here. Perfect, right? And we will implement here method sync go to login page. Go to login page is the method for base page, because we can go to that login page from any page, right? That's why it is a generic business process, not specific to dashboard page. So we'll implement it here. And what do I need to do to go to the login page? I need to click on this element, right? That is the point. So how would I do that? Simple. I'll simply say this dot web test dot click element. I'll simply call my click element, and I'll simply pass it the locator. That's it. This is how I'll perform my go to login page activity, right? So in our test case, once the dashboard page object is created, I'll say dashboard page dot go to login page. So this will take me to the login page, right? So first dashboard object is getting created, dashboard page object. From that dashboard page, with the reference of it, I am calling my go to login page. Okay, so I will go to the login page, and once I'm on the login page, once I'm here, then I would be performing my do login, right? So my login page, so here we will say public email field, public, okay, this is the constructor, and this is do login. Okay, and then we will have the locators for this. So inspect, so this is a input field having ID, name,,, type. So we can use any uh, type, so we can use any 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 type, so we can use locators for that matter. So I'll use CSS for now, but we will change it to you know soon we will be changing it to Playwright specific locators, like as we had seen, right? Placeholder, get by label, get by rule, and all that. That also we can use, but I'm just keeping at the beginning. I'm just keeping this very basic, so that there won't be any confusion. So we would be defining the locators here, and then we would be ultimately calling our do login in our here. So login page and login page dot do login, that is how we would be doing, right? So do login method would be called. So this do login method, here we will get the username and password, and then we would be performing the operation, and then we would be having our checkpoint, right?